you're composing posts, take advantage of tagging, whether it be individuals or organizations. It's likely to help amplify or boost your post onto other news feeds of people with whom you may not already be connected. Because by taking that action of tagging, it's going to hopefully, or at times, notify the person who's been tagged that they have been tagged in your post, or the organization, if it's in that scenario, that the organization's been post, and hopefully surface it onto whoever they're connected with or whoever's following that company page. One article, or actually I've come across a few of these articles though, that have said, and again, this is specific to LinkedIn, um, be mindful of who you're tagging, because the algorithm may know that you're trying to game it. So the caveat to that is, tag people who you know are likely to engage with the post. So you may be tagging 15 different people in your post, and you're A, not connected with these people, and B, because you're not connected, they're not going to engage with the post. I don't think that the algorithm is going to penalize you per se, but it knows that you're trying to game it to get onto other news feeds. So there is a soft power to not going, going overboard with tagging, but just being very mindful of tagging the people who you actually have a direct connection with, and you have a feeling that they are likely to, whether it be liking, commenting, or reposting that post. That's when I would say, tag the individuals or the company or organizations.
Use the @ symbol ahead of typing in someone's name in a post. It will tag them to the post. The benefit of that is that it actually allows the individual to then more easily engage and potentially share with their networks, as long as the post privacy is set to everyone. Instead of, I think the main highlight of why you should use the @ is if the person or organization that you were tagging into the post is actively a part of the content, if they are really relevant in maybe developing content or maybe planning an event with you. You want to tag people who are actually relevant. You don't want to just ad hoc add people who you think would, benefit from seeing the content. So that's kind of the recommendation, is by, tagging individuals or groups within your post, it does create a sense of credibility and can demonstrate, other people or organizations that may be connected to the content that you're posting about. So again, the recommendation is just to make sure that it's relevant, or who you're tagging in or the organizations that you're tagging in is actually relevant to the content that you're posting about.
It's a fine line, and this is more art than science, but generally, you do want to talk about yourself, but you don't want to make yourself the center of the entire post. So let me explain what I mean. One of my most popular types of content is me talking about my career pivot from law to legal tech. I think bragging about yourself could be if I, for example, posted about my successes in legal tech, and maybe drawing upon maybe my experience in law, being like, I was a great lawyer, now I'm a great legal tech salesperson. That can come across as braggy. However, if you flip it around and talk about the theme and then use your own story as a way to supplement the theme, then it doesn't come across as braggy. So for example, for me, I would say, career pivots require you to identify what your strengths are and go to a job that rewards that strength. For example, I used to be a lawyer who worked by myself, and I wanted to work more with people, so I went into startup sales in legal tech, and that's where I found success. So my story is a way to illustrate the main point, not the main point in itself. And you can do this in a lot of different areas, right? So if you want to talk about a new job opportunity or career opportunity, you can kind of brag about yourself, and people do that, and that's accepted on LinkedIn. But if you want to come across not as bragging, maybe you can tie it to something else, and that something else could be maybe a trend. Maybe you're moving from one type of law firm to another type of law firm, and you can talk about the trend of maybe it's a firm that previously focused on manufacturing, now it's technology. So you can talk about the movement to technology. You can talk about your new job in the context of I don't know, work-life balance, or being closer to spending more time with the people you care about. There's a lot of different ways to talk about your accomplishments and what you've done without making it the center of the theme of the post. The theme always has to be something else. That's also why if you know, as you continue to post, you don't want to talk about yourself very much. You want to shift topics. You want to provide commentary, you know, provide career advice. You don't want to make it about you. And you know, the audience is very sensitive to it. We've all used LinkedIn, and we can all know people who are cringy and come across as very self-aggrandizing. Like, people will sense that.
Regarding profiles, I would say for LinkedIn first, what I'd say is the thing that stands out, have a headline that is creative. The thing that drives me up the wall sometimes is people just say, you know, title at company X. That's all well and grand, but a lot of people don't take into account that LinkedIn search function is actually scraping headlines. So the more keywords or phrases you can include in your headline, the more likely it is your profile is going to turn up on a search result page when someone's searching for something specific. So let's say someone's looking for a labor and employment lawyer in the Chicago area. If you include labor and employment partner at Perkins Coie Chicago, that's going to definitely be a very narrow search result, and it's more likely your profile is going to come up instead of someone who just says that they're a partner at a law firm. So that's one thing to take into account with your headlines. You can also include hashtags, or so topics that you follow, you can include them as hashtags in your profile. So the algorithm, what it does is it takes into account those hashtags. I think it limits it to about 5. So that helps dictate what actually appears on your news feed, but it also will, I believe, work to sort of either give you connection suggestions or serve up content related to that topic on your newsfeed, but also the content that you write or you post about, it's likely to serve that up to people with whom you may not have a direct connection to. So that's what I recommend for LinkedIn. With Twitter, the main thing I recommend is just sort of including a disclaimer, especially if your organization works in like the political realm or anything like that. I always like to include, you know, views or thoughts expressed here are mine alone, not those of my organization. That just helps sort of prevent and do due diligence of not like having more trolls attack your company's page. They may still come after you based off what you're sharing, but I just like to, you know, include that disclaimer in that line. Commenting on a post or liking a post, I say, you know, I always encourage people to do both. Again, and I keep on talking about the algorithms, but you know, when these platforms let you know, give you some insight to how their algorithms work, listen to them. So with LinkedIn specifically, they share that, you know, posts that receive multiple comments, that's how posts begin to trend. So, and I'm going to backtrack a little bit to sort of like, you know, how should you compose a post. Another really good thing to include in that is to solicit comments. Because anytime that you're able to get more comments on your post, the more likely it is that the algorithm is going to start to surface it. And if you do that really well, perhaps you may even be able to get something that's trending, or not something, but get a post that's trending. So definitely, you know, try to get those comments in the post. As much as I like impressions or likes on posts, they aren't nearly awarded as much as comments. So definitely try to solicit those or leave them on, you know, whether you are commenting on your connections post or your organization's post. Just keep in mind that by you leaving that comment, you're helping to amplify that. And then if you want to take it another step further, you can then also reshare or repost that post. One thing to keep in mind when you are resharing or reposting something, always take advantage of the leave a comment or, you know, compose your own message, because by simply just resharing something, the algorithm is sort of like, okay, thanks, moving on to the next. But by including your own personalized comment, the algorithm is actually going to make note of that because you're adding to sort of the conversation, if you will. So again, leave sort of like your takeaway. So let's say that someone spoke at a speaking engagement, you participated, so you like that post, you leave a comment. And then you can actually repost that post, which includes your comment, but include your own commentary saying, sort of thanking your connection for providing some really good insights on whatever was addressed at that speaking engagement. So you're actually taking 3 courses of action that are really going to help get that post recognized by the algorithm.